I think he'll probably play next week. I mean, it's not so bizarre for the third-string quarterback to not play in this week's preseason game. Brady gets his most snaps, and Mallett needs his. But in terms of Tebow as a player in the NFL, yeah, I think he is done. I think the end came last year when he couldn't beat out Greg McElroy when the Jets needed somebody to replace Mark Sanchez. I mean, that signals the end. He's a guy a lot of people like, and a lot of people like having around. He brings a lot to the locker room. He brings something to, the meeting room. He's a strong personality. He's a leader. He's got all those great things. But as a player, it hasn't translated to the NFL level, with the exception of one half season in Denver where they tore down the whole thing and built it up around him. And I think that the thing to remember is the Jets, who will do anything for a sideshow, didn't want him anymore. The Patriots, if Belichick will take anybody whose value gets close to rock bottom, and he doesn't have a place to play him. Jacksonville doesn't want him, even though their fan base supposedly does. There just aren't too many places you can realistically see him showing up and playing. And so I think in terms of playing in the NFL, I think those days are over.
See, I contend that the Patriots knew what they were getting when they brought in Tim Tebow. They knew he couldn't throw the ball, and they knew he couldn't be a viable backup because, as you said, if Tom Brady, God forbid, got hurt and you throw Tebow in there, you got to change the entire offense.
It'll be more of a God forbid, let's put it that way.
He's not a viable backup. So they knew what they were getting. I think Belichick and Josh McDaniels, we know, like this character, like the intangibles he brought, his leadership, his inspiration that he brings to a locker room. My question to you is, do you think the Patriots keep him this year just for those intangibles?
Well, that becomes a question about their roster and the construction of their roster. I mean, do you have to keep say a sixth linebacker? How versatile are those guys at the back end of your roster? Can you afford to go with one less guy at another position in order to keep the third quarterback? And how important is he? Do they have packages they want him to run? Can he help on special teams enough to justify a roster spot? So those are questions that the Patriots have to deal with in the next couple weeks. I don't think we have a definitive answer to that, but
if not, though, he's done. He's out. If they cut him, is he out of the league?
Where is he going to play? Could he turn up somewhere and be somebody's number 2 or 3 on a team that carries 3 quarterbacks? Sure, but where is he going to play?
It's a big question. Both of you guys, terrific points. When it comes to a guy like Tim Tebow, Dan, and Carrie, and Chris, there's always going to be that owner out there that loves a sideshow that is not Woody Johnson, the owner of the New York Jets. For all the qualities you mentioned, Dan, that he brings so much to the team. He brings character. He brings leadership. Guys just feel better when he's around. To your point, Chris, and also to Dan's point as well, where is he going to play? Because apparently people think, well, if he can't play quarterback, he can play fullback or tight end. Like, that's so easy to do because you've never done it before. Oh, let's have the first time you do this at the highest level of football in the National Football League. Oh, yeah, that's a good plan. If you're Tim Tebow, I thought the look on his face last night was very telling. He was smiling to keep from crying because he really wanted to be out there. And he believes that if somebody will put an offense around him or give him a chance to play, then he can be a successful NFL quarterback. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I don't think his time in the NFL is over. I don't think the Patriots are going to cut him when next week rolls around unless he really goes out there and shows Bill Belichick he has no business playing quarterback for this football team. But there's always going to be that one owner or that one general manager to say, you know what, he can be hard to defend and hard to prepare for 5 to 10 plays a game. That could be the difference in us being a winning football team or not being a winning football team. I think there's one person out there that could be seduced enough by that the Patriots get rid of him, that they may give him a chance.
But who is it? Where is that person?
That's the fair question.
But nobody's shown interest.
Denver,
I mean, last
year, he won
year,
Denver a playoff game, and they didn't want him anymore. The Jets desperately had no quarterback by week 15 of last year and would not put him in the game. Again, Jacksonville, where supposedly he would be a cult hero and would sell tickets, they have no interest and they can't sell tickets. So where is the fit for him? There are too many teams. New England takes him because they're not scared of the sideshow.
Right.
Belichick thinks he can handle it, and it's not going to be a problem. There's too many teams that just won't touch him because they don't want all the attention he's going to bring. They don't want all their press conferences all week to be all about that. They don't want all their players to be answering Tebow questions in the locker room. That's got to be half the league right there. I don't know where the fit is in terms of that owner, that GM that you're talking about.
Yeah, it could be a mystery team. I think it has to be a mystery team because people did not think he wanted to go to the Jets or that the Jets wanted him. And based on reports that I heard, that he kind of forced his way to go to New York because he wanted to further his brand and he felt New York was a place to do that and he felt he could beat out Mark Sanchez or anybody else. Tim Tebow has that belief in himself that if you give me a chance, and the FOTs, I like to call them, the fans of Tebow, you know they're going to be loud, proud, and strong behind their guy. Give him a chance. Give him a chance. It always seems to happen when you least expect it with a situation like this. There's going to be that one coach, or that one GM, or that one owner that'll say, why not? What if we got to lose, no matter if he does not fit that football team?
I think the only chance, if he gets cut by New England, would be Jacksonville. And probably not even this year. Gabbert has to go out and fail, and they have another bad season. The owner, we know, wanted Tebow. From what I understand, the coaching staff really didn't want him. But maybe after a bad season, if the owner's pushing for Tebow, you bring him in next year and you build everything around him. Outside of Jacksonville, I can't see where he goes. And I don't even see, the further we get from Denver, you know, now it's been, well, yeah. It's just like, you get further away from that. And even his cult status, even though you always have that group that loves him, but still his cult status would die out too, and that benefit will be gone.
You know, one thing you said about he wanted to go to New York to further his brand, I think that's a mischaracterization a little bit of the guy. He wanted to go to New York because he felt like there were more people in New York, and he's not about furthering his brand. The people that have furthered the Tebow brand are not Tebow. It's all been external. He's a guy who loves to do the off-the-field stuff. You know, he has a sick kid with him on the field at every game. He wants to be able to actually help people's lives. That's something he does actively, and it's not an act, and it's not fake, and you don't see it all the time, but when you see it, it does strike you. This is a guy that thinks he has some good to do in the world.
Right.
The NFL is offering him a platform from which to do that on a grand scale, and I think he's going to take advantage of that as long as he possibly can. That's the important thing to remember about this guy. He hasn't done anything, you know, to self-promote, to keep himself in the limelight. He's enjoying the fact that he is, because it gives him a way to do what he wants to do. And I think there's probably more for Tim Tebow to do in the world than play NFL football, and it might be getting close to time for him to get on with it.
But the question is, if he's going to do that, then when does he realize that that end of line is coming maybe a lot closer than he realizes, Dan? And I don't think Tim Tebow believes that. And that's why I honestly believes that he feels he should be out there and wants another chance and feels that he deserves another chance.